Hi football fans, my name is Cillian O'Grady, the Irish Flying Canary and long-time Norwich City fan. Welcome to the 7th edition of the Beyond the Barclay podcast focused on travelling supporters, O'Grady away days. In this episode, we will focus on Portsmouth and specifically Fratton Park Stadium. This is our first away league game of the season and also the first home league game for Pompey, so it should be a great experience for both sets of fans. A chance for the Canaries to see how their first team selection perform for an away league game. The podcast will hopefully give you an insight into getting to Fratton Park and back home safely and experiencing what the area and the city has to offer. There's always a good atmosphere in Fratton Park, so it's a venue I always like to visit. There are probably not many of us who are going to fly to the match, unless some of the other international Canaries or Pompey fans are planning the trip. I'll be flying into Gatwick and then catching a train down. It's a tight schedule for an early kick-off. Of course, I'm no expert in Portsmouth, so I'm delighted to be joined by a very special guest on the show who can no doubt give us a much better insight. Who could possibly know more than a former Mr. Portsmouth? I'm delighted to be joined by Matt Drummond, a lifelong Pompey supporter. You're very welcome, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Cillian. I think I look more like Mr. Portsmouth for all my years of supporting them. It's weathered me somewhat.
I see. Does Mr. Portsmouth mean you can run your own sheep through the city or anything? Does it give you those sort of privileges?
Yeah, there's no key to the city that I can lend out to any Norwich fans for the day, unfortunately.
All right. I think you were very gracious the last time we met in person, which I think was in Carrow Road, when you beat us in Easter, and you didn't gloat too much, which is great. But tell me about your journey supporting Portsmouth.
Well, Cillian, thanks for having me on. And I guess I'm from Portsmouth, as you just heard, Mr. Portsmouth. But I think when you grow up here, probably similar to those who have grown up in Norwich, in those one-club cities, very rarely you're ever given a choice. But to my recollection, first memories of Portsmouth being fighting relegation in the old Division 1, and that's pretty much what we're doing today. So sort of gone full circle. But in the meantime, I got to taste a good stint in the Premier League, winning the FA Cup, qualifying for UEFA Cup, and drawing with the likes of AC Milan at home and seeing Ronaldinho at Fratton Park, to the ultimate demise and crumbling down the leagues to the brink of extinction and a couple more promotions and championship safety present day, massively helped by that away win at Carrow Road. So I think you'll have a lot of grateful fans on the day when you come to visit.
Very good. And obviously, I believe you spent a bit of time living in London, but you're back home in Portsmouth now. What's your match day ritual like?
Yeah, the match day ritual, that's for me what the football day is all about. I think that walk to the stadium that I make, the flood of blue that's sort of meandering down the roads in Portsmouth, and I usually meet up at a microbrewery called Staggeringly Good, full of optimism on a match day, and then wait till 5 minutes in and get a sore neck from hoofing it in the sky.
And for people like, say, travelling there, and obviously there's not everybody who supports Portsmouth lives in Portsmouth, and obviously you're going to have a lot of Norwich fans down. I think it's a trip we all like to make. It's a nice location, and not a terrible journey from Norfolk either. What directions would you give somebody who was driving down? Like, where should they be parking or trying to get parking?
Yeah, I think for those on the day who are driving, it's not the worst place to get in the world. As you get close to the ground, like any football ground, it starts to become a little bit busier in terms of traffic. I think if you're approaching it by car, then luckily if you're coming from the west or the east on the M27, you come off and you follow one road called the Eastern Road down south, which can take you right the way through to Fratton Park. And I think if you are coming by the car, then you do have some residential roads that you could park, some near the away pubs, some close to the stadium that you could get the car in. But it is, it's one of these old-fashioned grounds that is mix of residential and sandwich in between residential and commercial. So we'll go for a couple of those options. But in terms of a car, it is accessible. There's a couple of options as well in terms of a park and ride, which is near the city. I think that's about £3.50.
Okay.
And it doesn't depend on however many people in the car. It's a car charge of £3.50. That will take you into the city centre. So
very good.
Option there.
In terms of people like myself going by train, like which station should we get off?
Yeah, closest station is Fratton. It's about 10-15 minute walk from Fratton to the away end of the stadium. It's all, once you get out of Fratton station, you just walk down one road, Goldsmith Avenue, and there's a heavy flow of fans getting to the game as well. So you don't often get many people getting lost. It's you just sort of follow the sea of football fans on the match day.
Okay. And is there plenty of food stops on the way down from Fratton down?
Yeah, there are. There's plenty of from Fratton down, especially. You know, you sort of get the guard of honour of the burger vans on the match days, and as if you were to if you're walking near the stadium behind the main Pompey stand, there's sort of quick fast food places. If you've got a bit more time in Portsmouth on the morning of or afterwards, there's some good places to eat nearby in Gunwharf Quays, but it's probably a train or taxi job on the day.
Okay.
What I would say is there is we've been overtaken by Piglet's Pantry now do the food inside Fratton Park. So if you completely miss all of that and you need some scran on the day, then you know the cheesy sausage rolls we do in Fratton Park, they're Champions League level, not Championship, Cillian.
Okay, so they're a high recommendation, are they?
Yeah. I've had many in my time.
It's wearing well on you. And obviously, as I said, it's quite a handy journey, but at the same time, I'm sure some fans will arrive a little bit thirsty. So where can a Norwich fan or any other away fan go for a drink? Probably maybe not a Southampton fan, but otherwise, go for a drink.
Yeah. If you've ever had a red and white third kit or away kit, now's not the day to wear it. But I'd say, despite our reputation of this noisy island city, we are surprisingly accommodating and friendly. Those who have visited before on the day will find out. The usual takeover spot for away fans is a pub called the Good Companion, which is an easy walk to the away end. But actually, in the last sort of 2 seasons, we've actually opened a fan zone behind our main Fratton End, and that is open to both home and away fans, not ticketed, or you don't have to pay to get in. So you can grab a beer there and soak up the live DJ that builds as the atmosphere. I don't think we'll need any encouragement on the day. And the hidden gem, I'd say, is staggeringly good. It's where I usually go. It's an old industrial warehouse that got turned into a microbrewery. They brew all their own.
That's where you brought me the last time, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they brew their own stuff there, and some away fans. I remember Wickham once totally took that over. So I think the atmosphere will be good on the day. It'll be friendly, and there'll be plenty of places to grab a beer if you miss any of them.
And then for people who want to say something more substantial to eat, was there anywhere you'd recommend around the city, or is there any areas of the city that are?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're spending a little bit longer in the city and I know we've said this in early kickoff, and some plans might have been scuppered, but if you've got more time in the city, there's a place called Gunwharf Quays, an area called Gunwharf Quays on the Marina Harbour. That's got plenty of nice bars and restaurants, as does an area of the city called Southsea. That's got a whole strips of bars and restaurants where you can grab something more substantial. I think we went to one called Porter's before together.
Yeah, that's right. That was lovely.
Yeah. And there's plenty of quick bites as well.
And then for the player, or for people who are staying over, because people are making maybe a weekend of it, especially with the early kickoff. Any recommendations on places or areas to stay?
Yeah, I'd say if you're just coming in either night before or just if your focus is more on the match and the match day experience, then there's a really close Ibis hotel for the more cheap and cheerful, head down, get to the game and get out of there. But again, there's some hotels over in Gunwharf Quays or the area called Southsea, which I've mentioned. That's on the seafront. So if you're making a weekend of it in August, hopefully in the sunshine, then there's plenty of B&Bs in Southsea that you could look at.
Great. So coming back to Fratton Park itself then, so the atmosphere, you mentioned this new fan zone, but I mean, Fratton Park has a great reputation for atmosphere. Like, what makes it special, do you think?
Oh, do you know what? I'm getting goosebumps. I'm not sure that makes me sad, but just thinking about not being there for the summer, it will be rocking on the day. I think, given that I think Norwich are lucky to have the first what will be our first home league game of the season. Hopefully in the sun as well. It always makes for a good day at Fratton Park. It'll be absolutely buzzing. I think what makes it different is they're a dying breed, those old traditional grounds which are part of the city's beating heart, and the structure of the ground. It's a proper football ground. It's close to the pitch, and I think that's where we've been really successful. We call it Fortress Fratton, and I think that being an intimidating atmosphere, it's close to the pitch. I remember there was a few Premier League players when we were up there who just really didn't fancy it. You know, that old adage, a cold Tuesday night in Stoke. Well, it was there was a cold Tuesday night in Pompey back in the day. But I think the other funny things to look out for on the day as a match day experience is we come out to an old Mike Oldfield remix called Portsmouth, which I'm not sure is played on a flute, but it's a really old tune. It raised a few eyebrows. Is this going to pump up the team? But we've sort of we've embraced it now. But it's usually met with a few jeers from the away end. And then, of course, you've got the Pompey chimes and John Westwood ringing his bell at the other end to your away end. So look out for that, because it's a different experience than your traditional football fan.
And are there different parts of the stadium that have different types of fans, experience or atmosphere?
Yeah, so I guess from a point of view of the Norwich fans on the day, directly opposite you to the other goal, that's our main stand, the Fratton End. That's what generates the atmosphere. But to the right of the fans, that's the North Stand Terrace. And you usually get a few friendly waves from the people in the lower North Stand on the day and
directions.
Yeah, directions. Yeah, and then on the left, which I don't think you'll be positioned towards. I imagine you're probably close to selling out. Well, are you selling out your allocation, Cillian? Do you know on the day?
As far as I know, yeah. Again, I'm not sure what allocation we've taken, but
yeah,
it seems to be quite in demand. We're excited about the season now.
Yeah.
If we didn't have a good season and we were playing you in May, it might be a different story. But
yeah. So I think the fans to the right of you, fans opposite you, and then the left hand side is our south stand, which is our family stand, so which you should get the least interaction from. But yeah, it should be rocking on the day.
So is there any particular chants we should be listening out for?
I think the Pompey chimes, the play up Pompey, that's iconic. We don't typically reinvent the wheel on chants in the home games, at least. So it's a lot of play up Pompey, it's a lot of Blue Armies, and yeah, it's more the away day travels where the creative sparks of Portsmouth fly. But we keep it simple on the south coast.
Very good. And if a fan wanted to meet the players, is there any opportunity to do that from either side, from Pompey side and from the away team side?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you get there early enough. So on the northwest side of the stadium is where the car park is. You'll be able to see it. And the coach for the Norwich players will actually arrive into the car park. They do pull a barrier out, but you're a stone's throw away from the players to shout, might get a picture or an autograph. So that's for the away team. And then the home team is behind our main stand. If you just carry on left at at the start or end of the game, players are usually pretty good about if you want an opportunity to meet them.
Okay, brilliant. In terms of outside of football, What else would somebody go to Portsmouth for? What else is there to see and do there?
Yeah, I think if the shopping at Gunwharf and the bars and restaurants or watching Pompey try kick a ball aren't your thing, then I'd definitely recommend the historic dockyard. I think we're really lucky to have some great historic sites down in Portsmouth. You've got HMS Victory, the Mary Rose Museum, or close by you've got the D-Day experience, where you learn about where D-Day was launched from. We've actually got a landing craft at the museum, and it's, even if you're not a history buff, really interesting, really good experience going to that.
That sounds like fun. I've heard people talking about the docks and the experience there, so it seems to be a big thing. And if the weather's nice, there are any nice beaches around? Or
yeah, you've got Southsea Seafront, so that's it's a sort of beach area. There's not any Maldives sand; it's more Pompey pebbles. But it's nice down there on a sunny day, going down to the seafront. Watching the boats go. If you've got the time, you're doing a weekend of it. People might want to nip over on the hovercraft to the Isle of Wight. There's plenty to do down there.
How long does that take?
The hovercraft, I think it takes about 30 minutes to get over there. Yeah,
it's very close, and that's, from memory, that's quite close to the harbour station, isn't it?
Yeah. So you've got it's confusing sometimes for away fans because you're obviously playing Portsmouth, but there's 3 stations. There's Portsmouth and Southsea, there's Portsmouth Harbour, and then there's Fratton itself. Definitely on match day, Fratton, but it's well connected to Portsmouth and Southsea, which is going down into the city area, and Portsmouth Harbour is where the Gunwharf Quays and Harbour and Marina is. So there's a couple of places nearby.
I've seen a few Norwich fans on some of the Norwich forums asking about getting back to London and back north after the game. How difficult is Fratton Station after a match? I'd imagine there's quite a congregation of fans. Which direction are Pompey fans generally going?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think that there is sometimes a bit of a wait on some of the trains. A lot of it is sometimes policed in terms of their wait and delegate at certain times. I think if you have the luxury of not having to get straight off, then if you wait around, grab a drink or meet the players, it's usually cleared out by that time, and it never feels unmanageable either direction you're going on. If you miss that first train, you'll likely get on the second. So
okay, that's good, very good. I have to ask about rivalries. It's pretty obvious who your main rivals are. How are you feeling about them coming down this season?
Yeah, I think, look, we only really have one rivals. I think they've been trying to give a few more over the years in terms of a dockyard derby with Plymouth, but it's all about Southampton for us, and I'm sure you can relate with your year coming up as well. But it's the first fixture you check on the list when it comes out in the summer. We haven't played them in the league for 13 years. Wow. So it'll be very tasty. I'll be giving them different advice in how to stay safe and get around Portsmouth than I would you, that's for sure.
Yeah, to just not come. What's the atmosphere like on Derby Day?
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's incredible. I think it's because they're two club cities. The history of the rivalry goes way back to the days of dock strikes. You can just really feel it. It's bragging rights for the next however long until you play them again. And the atmosphere on Derby Day is like you wouldn't believe. I think it's been hampered somewhat by bubble travel, but it makes sense, right? Because I think if they didn't, it would be carnage.
Yeah, and in terms of just asking for a friend now, how do you feel about playing a team coming down from the Premier League and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's I think the home advantage is a bit of a leveler. I think it depends on multiple factors. I think, like for yourselves, I think we play them at about a similar time for the first time into that, and it becomes a bit season defining early on in terms of that first game, and could be defining for managers as well. So I would say there's been much worse times to play them than there is now. I think they got a bit of a kicking up in the Prem, whereas we've gained a little bit of momentum. And I think, the last time that we met in the league 13 years ago, there was 2 draws, and I think that's probably good for peace on the South Coast, although I'd love to get a win over them.
Brilliant. Last thing, how's the squad shaping up this season? I haven't kept up to date with any of your transfer business.
Yeah, there's I'd say it's shaping up okay. So there was a few departures of fans' favourites, so it's always interesting to see how that plays out. But the likes of Christian Sadie and Cassini Engi, Paddy Lane, we just couldn't guarantee him first team football. And also, surprisingly, Matt Ritchie's been told that he can depart the club for the same reason. But we've brought in a local lad to replace him in John Swift, who's highly rated, and he's come back to Portsmouth. And we've raided the Australian A-League again and got an exciting prospect in Adrian Segacic. So we seem to have done most of our business in midfield. But I'd say the one interesting point for you to watch out on the day is that our goal scorer Colby Bishop, who you might remember from Carrow Road, he's didn't feature in our last pre-season game, so I'm not sure if he's carrying a knock. It'd be interesting to see if he starts on the day. But I think overall, a baseline, the goal is to stay in the Championship again, and I'd be absolutely chuffed if we can push for top half finish to build on what we achieved last year. Then that would be our main goal.
Last thing, I know I did say that was the last one, but curious, I mean, obviously it's common sense, but are there any areas and things that people should avoid to make sure that they get home safely after the game?
Look, I don't think so. Unless you've strayed wildly away from Fratton Park, I would just say the main advice is like any big city, remain vigilant, look after each other. It's usually a pretty safe place to come. I'd say get involved with the banter. There'll be plenty on the day, but maybe rein it in. If you score a last-minute winner, then just take a bit more caution.
And hide any red shirts.
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, Matt, it's been a pleasure having you on, as always, and I look forward to catching up with you when we get down there later in the month. For all the fans at home, I've enjoyed this session. We're going to do a bit of a rebrand and a change for the next session, which is our match against Blackburn, but more about that coming up. Thanks for watching.
That's it for this episode of Beyond the Barclay. Thanks so much for listening. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. You can also catch all our episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And if you've got any questions, stories, or topics you'd like us to cover, get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, on the ball, City.